Good morning, students. Before the summer break, we had started with a chapter that is matter around us pure? So now we will be continuing with this chapter and we will be looking into the details of the other concepts of the chapter. Before going deep into the chapter, let me have a quick recap of what you have learned before the summer break. Now you have learned that almost all the substances, that is 99% of the substances present around us are mixtures. For example, the air that we breathe in, it is a mixture of gases. The milk that we drink, it is a mixture of different substances like proteins, fats, water, etc. So almost everything that is present around us is not a pure substance, but it is a mixture. So we can have a look at the definition of mixture. Mixture contains molecules of one or more substances. These molecules which are contained in the mixtures, this can also be called as constituents. So in short, you can say that mixture contains different types of constituents inside it. Now let us look at the differences between the mixture and the compound. Now just see here, you can see the differences. Mixtures can be homogeneous and heterogeneous. Homogeneous in the sense that if the mixture is having the composition same throughout the solution, it will be a homogeneous mixture. For example, if I am dissolving 1 spoon of sugar in water, 1 glass of water, I will mix it thoroughly with the help of a spoon. And if the mixture is proper, that is homogeneous, all the solute particles or sugar particles are evenly distributed throughout the solution, then I will be calling it as a homogeneous mixture. Heterogeneous mixture means the solute particles are not uniformly spread throughout the solution. For example, if I am taking the sugar solution, the same sugar solution, that is 1 glass of water, and in it I have dissolved 1 tablespoon of sugar. Okay, now if I am taking this and if I am trying to taste the sugar solution from the top and from the bottom, and if I am getting the same taste at the top also and at the bottom also, then I can call it as a homogeneous solution. But if I find that as I am drinking the sugar solution, first it is not sweet, but when I am going to finish the solution, by the time the sugar solution is getting more sweeter, so that will indicate that the concentration of sugar at the bottom was more, right? So this is a heterogeneous solution. In case of a compound is always homogeneous. Homogeneous means that the constituent particles present inside it will be uniformly distributed. For example, if you take water has got a formula of H2O. Okay, so water, wherever you take the substance, the compound water, you will find that hydrogen and oxygen is present in the ratio 2:1. For 2 atoms of hydrogen, everywhere 1 atom of oxygen is present. Whether you take the solution from the top, whether you take the solution from the bottom. So you have understood the first difference between a mixture and a compound. Now second one, the constituents of a mixture might be present in varying proportions. Varying proportions means that, for example, you just consider the normal chuda which you have at home. You find that you have the moofali inside that, you have that potato fried potatoes inside it. Sometimes you have this coconut bits also fried inside it, isn't it? So in varying proportion it is present. It is not that 4 pieces of potato fried you are having, so 4 pieces of groundnuts only should be there. It is not like that. Maybe more groundnuts are there, less potato pieces are there. That proportion can vary. So in mixtures you always find that whatever substances are mixed together, that will be present in a varying proportion. But in case of compound you find that the constituents are present in a definite proportion. As I told you, if we take the example of water, for 2 atoms of hydrogen, you have only 1 atom of oxygen. Okay, so they are fixed together with a definite proportion. Now, for mixtures, you have the third property, that is properties are an average of those of the constituents. That means that inside the mixture, I am taking the example of the chuda only which you have, okay, so that you can relate it very easily. That is, whatever substances are mixed inside that chuda or namkeen, each will have its own taste. For example, groundnut pieces are there, that is the moongfali pieces, that will be having their own taste. Okay, the fried potatoes which are added to that will be having a different taste. The taste is not going to mix. That means individual properties of the constituents are present and you can clearly make out in a mixture. But in a compound, it is not there. That is, properties of a compound are different from its constituents. Again, if I take the example of water, water is a liquid, but hydrogen is a gas and oxygen is a gas. Okay, so the constituents making the water are hydrogen and oxygen. The property is different of hydrogen and oxygen gas, and it is entirely different of water, that is a liquid. Hydrogen burns with a pop sound, oxygen is a supporter of combustion, but water, if you see, water you can use it for extinguishing the fire. Now come to the next property. The various constituents can be separated by physical means. That means that in mixtures you can use very simple methods like for example, you can pick it by hand also, or by a simple filtration method you can separate the constituent mixtures, like picking of the stones or pebbles from the rice. But in case of a compound, you find that some chemical process has to be required. For example, to separate water into hydrogen and oxygen, you have to use the chemical process called electrolysis. Now, no energy change takes place in the formation of a mixture. Okay, that means that you can simply mix, for example, rice with stones you want to mix, there is no energy change. You can only physically do that. But here you find that energy is required either in the form of heat, light or electricity. Any one method you have to give, then only you can find that a compound will be formed. The mixture will not have a definite melting or boiling point. Why? Because it consists of a number of constituent particles and each constituent particle has its own property. Okay, moongfali will be burning at a different temperature. The potato which you have fried inside it, that will be burning or that will be getting heated up at a different temperature. But that is not in the case of compounds. Compounds, for example, have got a definite melting and boiling point. You know the melting point and boiling point of water. Boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius and 0 degrees Celsius is the melting point of water. Now, constituent particles of the mixture, that is the last one you can see. The constituent particles, they are chemically not bound to each other. That means force of attraction is not existing between the particle, but in case of water, there are definite constituent particles existing between the atoms.